For journalists, dissidents, officials, lawyers, and investigators facing sophisticated targeting, one missed setting can mean the difference between ordinary smartphone security and a hardened device designed for extreme threats. Welcome to Wandt, Quick Take, an AI-narrated educational video series exploring important topics in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and technology. Each episode draws from source materials connected to Professor Adam Scott Wandt of John Jay College of Criminal Justice, including lectures, notes, research, recordings, and earlier works. The series is designed for public education and provides a cinematic overview of those materials. This episode was assembled using artificial intelligence. The final narration and presentation may not always fully reflect Professor Wandt's precise views, wording, or intent. Modern smartphones are designed to be highly automated communications hubs. For them to function, they must constantly process incoming data, from text messages to background network requests, without requiring user intervention. This automated handling creates the smooth experience users expect, but it also creates opportunities for exploitation. That automated processing is what mercenary spyware, like NSO Group's Pegasus, targets. As this Apple security alert shows, victims of these operations face persistent, high-level threats. Attackers use zero-click exploits, malicious code that triggers because the device automatically processed a corrupted input, like a hidden image or a link preview. In these cases, a phone can be compromised without the user ever interacting with the attacker. Standard security features are built to stop common malware and phishing attempts, but they are often insufficient against zero-click attacks. Traditional defenses assume a threat requires a user to make a mistake, like clicking a suspicious link. But mercenary spyware removes the user from the equation entirely. To counter this, Apple's iOS 26 includes lockdown mode. It is an optional, restrictive security setting intended specifically for the small number of people who face sophisticated, state-sponsored cyber attacks. This diagram illustrates the concept of attack surface reduction. The security principle is straightforward. The most secure code is the code that is never allowed to run. Lockdown mode reduces risk by disabling or restricting the specific features and code libraries that attackers have historically used to gain access to a device. In the messaging and media pathway, the device stops automatically parsing complex files. Most message attachments are blocked, link previews are removed, and shared albums in the Photos app are disabled. Similar restrictions apply to web browsing and communication. Complex web technologies are disabled by default to prevent hidden scripts from running. Incoming FaceTime calls and service invitations are blocked unless the user has an existing communication history with that contact from within the last 30 days. Hardware and networking protocols are also tightened. The device must be unlocked to connect to any physical accessory. It will automatically disconnect from non-secure Wi-Fi, and it disables 2G and 3G cellular support, older standards that lack modern encryption and are susceptible to interception. Lockdown mode trades the high-speed automation of a standard smartphone for a restricted environment. By removing instant previews and open network connections, the device minimizes the entry points available for an attacker's code to run automatically. There is a persistent myth that turning this feature on makes a phone unhackable. In reality, lockdown mode only limits specific attack vectors. It does not protect against a user who is coerced into revealing a password, nor does it mitigate the risks of using weak credentials or falling for traditional social engineering. Another misconception is that every privacy-conscious user should enable it. However, Apple's technical documentation notes that the vast majority of people will never be targeted by the mercenary spyware this mode is designed to resist. Users often interpret broken websites or missing features as software defects. This is actually the intended behavior. If a site fails to load a specific complex technology, it means the security boundary is successfully preventing unverified code from executing. Hardening a device is not a substitute for software maintenance. Even with lockdown mode active, installing regular operating system updates is necessary to patch the foundational vulnerabilities that attackers try to reach. Ultimately, lockdown mode is a high-friction defensive tool. It requires significant usability trade-offs in exchange for security against a very specific and narrow threat model. That high friction introduces a practical vulnerability, human pressure. A high-risk target might disable the protection because a crucial website won't load, or a work-related file is blocked, inadvertently reopening the attack surface during a moment of frustration. For digital investigators, the presence of lockdown mode on a device must be interpreted carefully. It indicates that the user chose a hardened security state, but it is not forensic evidence of a compromise, nor does it provide a basis for an admission of guilt. However, for civil society, these defenses are often a baseline requirement. As this protest against NSO Group shows, journalists and human rights defenders are frequently targeted by commercial surveillance tools used to monitor their private communications and professional contacts. The existence of this feature reflects a specific shift in the mobile landscape. The technical gap between commercial surveillance products and state-level intelligence tools has narrowed significantly. Because of this, consumer hardware is now being engineered with defensive layers, once reserved for highly classified, specialized systems. For most people, the takeaway is the importance of threat modeling. Security is most effective when it matches the actual risk. For the general public, maintaining strong passcodes, using multi-factor authentication, and keeping software updated provides a robust level of everyday protection. But for those facing extraordinary danger, safety requires a different approach. It means choosing a device that refuses to prioritize convenience over security, and one that is programmed to stop doing everything automatically. Like, follow, and subscribe for more deep dives into emerging technology, digital investigations, and the research and analysis that define the digital landscape. And remember, stay curious and want knowledge.